Hey guys, I'm going to show you guys how to do a draft in WWE 2K24. And unfortunately, it's not like a in-game thing you can do. And also, I'm going to try to make like as less cuts as possible with this video because sometimes I do videos that are like uncut like this and they end up doing pretty decent. So, this is one of my universe mode save files like on one of the game's versions that I have. I think this is the PS4 version. I think I've used this as an example before. But one thing I like to do in my universe mode is kind of organize pay-per-views to put like the fourth pay-per-view, or like not the fourth pay-per-view, but like pay-per-view every month. And then, you know, I have my two shows here. But obviously if you guys have NXT, it would be a little bit different. So my thing is that this is what I do. Okay, so I have an organized, I believe, 5 matches on this card. You know, we got championships on here. We got championships the separate. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't use these tag titles. I would use different ones now. But we got the Intercontinental Championship on this show. Basically, what I'm basically showing you guys what I am prefacing. So I'm showing you guys what I have like before officially starting the actual draft itself. Like, so the thing is, you can't use it in game. So what I usually do is open up a Google document, but we'll get into that. So I set up my tag teams first. That is what I would do. I would go in, delete the tag teams you are not using, or edit the tag teams you want to use. I want you guys to make sure you guys got your tag teams down, okay? If you guys choose to want to separate your tag team divisions with 2 different tag team titles, you're going to want a lot of tag teams on your show. So, before even starting the draft, I would recommend having a lot of tag teams. I literally overdo it, and I have like 10 tag teams per show. So I have like 10 tag teams per show. Basically, I try to do it so that when I go into my divisions, you can have like 10 people in each division. But in the women's division, I have one championship here, right? I think so. Yeah, I have 1 championship here, but you guys can obviously change this. I have about 20 women in each roster, so I can utilize as many of them as possible. So I have a bunch of them. So basically how I do it is I kind of start off, and this is how I start off my draft, and this is what you guys can do. I like to start off by drafting the women's wrestlers first on my brands, utilize as many of them as possible. And in order for me to keep track of this, I use Google Docs. So I set up a Google document and I title it something along the lines of like Raw, SmackDown Review, and NXT as well. And then like put your championships on there and all that good stuff. So again, I would draft the women's wrestlers first because it's going to be 20 each. For me, that's what I like to do. But some of you guys might keep them on the same. I mean, I don't know. Do whatever you guys want to do with that. But I like to have different ones, and that's what I like to start with, and that starts me off with about 20 people per show. And then I like to have a roster participant size of around 65 to 70, especially when the DLCs come out. You can make this a little bit easier. Now, in your draft, the next thing I like to do is draft tag teams. And this is how I say organized, right? So I draft tag teams, and I make sure that I have 10 tag teams drafted per show. So that is a massive chunk of wrestlers already done. And this includes stables too. I make sure they're all evened out and stuff. I even this out based off of how many matches you're going to have is how many participants you're going to want to use. So a number of matches could be like 5. And if that's the case, then this is a pretty decent roster size. Although you could probably get away with like more matches, like 7. And it also depends on your pay-per-views. If you have 7 matches, if you have 8 matches, you can get away with this roster size. So I like to have around 70 participants, but this example has around 66. But the DLCs came out, so of course I can add more. Now, we have, what else was I going to go into? Because there was, so we did tag teams, the women's wrestlers, and then obviously what would be next is to draft the singles wrestlers. And this is the most organized way that I like to do it. So, for example, here, Cody's a singles wrestler. You know, I draft him to SmackDown. You know, I believe here I have who's a singles wrestler. In my game, Bobby Lashley is a singles wrestler. You have Cedric Alexander is a singles wrestler for me. CM Punk is on here. So basically, I like to do draft order women's wrestlers, do them, and then I like to do tag teams, and then we do the singles wrestlers. And I like to do this so that my divisions can have like at least, okay, in the tag team division, you don't have to have like 10 tag teams like go up against each other. But if you're drafting 10 tag teams, it's going to be, you're going to have like probably like 9 contenders or something like that. So, I mean, it kind of checks out. So, I mean, that's kind of basically how I do it. This is like this is how I do my draft. So if you guys want to take anything from that, that's what I'm probably going to title this video, how I do my draft in WWE 2K24, something like that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.